Hey there. It's me, UFL Jim. I got a nice, big show for you today. Previewing week 3 of the United Football League. I have KJDiscipleP here to lay down his sultry tones and give you some takes. And I'm going to go through each and every UFL game and give you my thoughts. That's right, baby. This is the UFL show with UFL Jim. It's the UFL show with UFL Jim, your one-stop shop for all things United Football League. We have a sexual tension, we have the heat, we have the power, we have the news. It's all here on the UFL show with UFL Jim. Let's jump right into it. This sultry, sensual UFL action kicks off Friday night on Fox. You got the Orlando Storm, the Louisville Kings, a rematch for the ages, some say. Can the Kings have a better showing against the Storm than they did previously? I sure hope so. As do the fans in Louisville. The Storm are veteran-led, and they are going to try their best to enter Week 4 at 3-0. But that Louisville crowd might just be the difference, folks, because they're loud, they're proud, and they're so hot there in Kentucky that maybe those Orlando Storm boys might just get sent packing. I hope the crowd still shows up for the Kings even though they've had such a poor start, because they're trying. They've been so close in their 2 games, and I think if they just get a nice little push, they can get that win. I believe in the Kings. I believe in Louisville. I believe in Chris Redmond. I believe in flicking that Jason Bean. And I think the Kings defense makes all the difference in the world. Not to mention the fact that old Plummer, that sexy Plummer, he holds on to the ball too long. And while I normally like that in a man, it's not as good to have that on the football field. So, I'm going to roll with the Kings. I'm going to get in my king-size bed, and I'm going to flick my Jason Bean until I come. Game number 2, we have 2 teams coming off of amazing wins for different factors. That's right. It's the Houston Gamblers and the DC Defenders. The Defenders coming off of a resounding win where they crushed Columbus's hopes. Meanwhile, the Gamblers, they bent those Stallions over and didn't let up for 4 quarters. As these 2 teams come to a head, I'm left sweating, percolating, and just plain horny for some good football in DC. That's right, folks. We get to see Audi in action. Those DC Defender fans will be out in force. The beer snake will be slithering all along those stands. And maybe, just maybe, we'll get a few nice little lemons to make it a lemon party. I like this game. It's intriguing. The situation at the quarterback position in Houston is something that we need to keep an eye on. And in DC, can Jordan Ta'amu put the team on his back? Because I don't know if this DC team will be able to run at will against these Houston Gamblers. I think the Gamblers keep it close, but don't sleep on this Defenders team. I think they edge out and get the win. for those fans at Audi. Whoo, boy. Game number 3, we of course head down to Dallas as the Aviators take on the number 1 team in the UFL, the Dallas Renegades. It's enough to get you all tingly, ain't it? Oh boy. The first versus the worst, folks. Can the Aviators do anything to keep this season from derailing? Meanwhile, you have the Renegades absolutely popping off against teams so far. Austin Reed, the man that you are, his connection with Tyler Vaughns is like my connection with my left hand on Thursday night. Something that no one should watch unless you have a parent in the room next to you not watching, because that would be inappropriate. But man, can they throw that ball around. I don't see any how, what, who, when, or why where the Columbus Aviators can stop the offensive juggernaut of the Dallas Renegades. It's just not going to happen. Maybe they put up a fight. Maybe they show something on offense. Just something. But I see the Renegades dominating yet again. And it's going to be sexual. It's going to be fierce. It's going to be NC-17 in Dallas, potentially. And finally, in game number 4, we have the Birmingham Stallions facing off against the St. Louis Battlehawks. 2 teams looking to get right. 2 teams coming off of a nicely disappointing week 2. They need a bounce back here. Which team wants it more? You gotta think Birmingham. Matt Corral's been here. He's looked good, but is the man regressing? Is he sinking back into that wonderful chiseled chin of his and not being as good of a quarterback as he's shown before? And the Stallions defense is not what we've come to expect out of Birmingham. They couldn't stop a wet paper towel. St. Louis, though, the offense just isn't humming whatsoever. They need a fluffer to get in there and kind of get them risen back up. Maybe you have a different guy at quarterback. Maybe you have a stunt double. Maybe you rely on the crowd in St. Louis to bukkake the Stallions with pure noise and aggression that they can't do a damn thing. Either way, I think both teams are fairly evenly matched, but the defensive line for St. Louis combined with the home field advantage, I gotta give it to the Battlehawks here. You have to caw till you can't caw no more. It's at this point in the show, folks, that I'm joined by one KJDiscipleP. Let's hear it. So KJ, what's your deal, huh? What's your deal, man?
Oh, man, I've been a super fan since the very onset of spring ball, dating all the way back to 2020. Have spent my fair share of time being a super fan for the beloved Houston squads that we've had, and also serve as a contributor on the Bottom Line podcast, as you'll note to my shoulder above me here. Great crew of guys that also support and avidly follow the league. Just love football in general. So, man, you can't go wrong with spring football and the level of engagement you get in this awesome league.
What do you think of this Houston team as a fanboy?
Man, I mean, speaking on last week's game specifically, super excited and stoked, man. I got this in the mail literally last week, so very, very pumped for the team. It was a good rally week considering how much we struggled in week 1. The league as a whole, I think, is going great. I think there's a lot of things to be positive about. The level of transparency we're seeing from Mike Repole and company is honestly second only to probably 2020. For those of us who have been around that long, know that. But he's done a lot of efforts to revitalize things, optimize venue selection. There has been weak points, but I mean, there's always positive and negatives, especially when you're revamping an entire business as big as a football sports league. But I think he's done a very good job so far. And I think the optimism for the future and the silver lining, if you really look long term, it can only go up. And I think he's got the right acumen and past experience that contributes to a positive outlook if you look at everything holistically.
What do you want to see going forward out of this league?
Biggest thing I feel like he's already doing, which is really trying to be attentive to the fans' feedback. In years past, I don't think as a fan base, for those of us who are diehards and faithfuls, have always felt that reciprocated or that the ear was open from the opposite direction of the channel, so to speak, with this kind of communication we see back and forth between the upper heads and league management and the fans that support the league. And I know certain cities have their struggle points, no doubt. But I think as long as there's intentionality from ownership and a recognition that while small markets are ideal, sometimes when you go to bigger cities, the strategy by which you attack that marketplace and you market respectfully has to be different in order to be successful and find a long-term ROI. As long as they're attentive to that and flexible, I think there's, like I said, there's no ceiling on this that can't be hit and superseded.
What would you say to someone to get them into the UFL?
Man, if you are truly a football fan and you don't follow this league already, I honestly can't understand why. And I say that from the standpoint of we've touched on this in years past, but the fan engagement is bar none. For the price point you pay and the value you get, it's still very competitive football. Yes, I know it's not multi-million-dollar level NFL, but these guys are still playing with a ton of effort, a ton of heart, a ton of eagerness to move up to that level. And you will see that on the field if you spend enough time watching a holistic game, multiple weeks especially. But with respect to what you would invest as a fan, whether it be season tickets or week-by-week game day ticket purchases, the amount of engagement potential you have to directly get photos with the players, communicate with the players, in between game weeks when they have actual local fan engagement against events, that every team does, you get that level of discourse and direct contact with the players that you never can even fathom having at the NFL type level and a league as premier as that. So I think the value prop blows the NFL fan experience out of the water. And honestly, to be a part of something at a grassroots level, I personally think has a lot more longevity to it because you can hold the pride and the bragging rights of saying, hey, I was there on the onset and I've been here for 10 plus years. Something that only like a Green Bay Packers fan or someone can really claim fame to on the NFL side of things. So
how do you see the rest of the season playing out?
I will say this, and I'm speaking from the vantage point and viewpoint of being a podcast contributor who has kind of made, game day predictions week to week. We've already seen a tumultuous 2 weeks through this course of the season. I think a lot of preconceived notions or biases that may have been, carried over from years past, seasons past, have already been kind of popped. Those bubbles have been popped. So I think what you're seeing is an ultimate greater level of competition and, being able to say that I can predict who the championship is at the end of the year. I don't even have confidence to do that. So it's really is a toss up. And makes it that even more exciting because you can hold so much more hope in your team rallying if they're struggling here early on, or vice versa. You have to keep your fingers crossed that your guys can maintain success through the remaining 8 weeks of the year plus playoffs. So,
give me them week 3 picks. Oh.
So right now I'm looking basically with the bottom line. We do picks on the point spreads. So for our first matchup with Louisville and Orlando, I'm carrying the Kings at +3. I'm sticking with the Gamblers for the +6.5. I think they've got with the Vegas betting odds. Not sure if they'll be able to pull out the win because DC is a great team, but I think they can definitely at least cover that spread, even if they do come up short. The other two I've got are obviously Columbus going to Dallas. I think Dallas will maintain their success they've had. And then the last game is Birmingham at St. Louis. That one's hard for me to pick, but honestly, I think, and this is me just depicting, Birmingham has struggled so far, obviously on the road. I don't think that's going to get any easier going into a venue as big as St. Louis is with the Battle Dome. So my nod's probably going to be on the Battlehawks for that one too.
Tell the people a little about yourself, huh?
Biggest thing I would say, guys, we've all got our fan bias. I'm as biased as they come, being a good old Texas boy, and I live in Tennessee. So no matter where you are, what team you root for, beyond rooting for your squad, root for the league as a whole. And if you have the capabilities and opportunities to go to another, even if it's one game this season, to an alternative team's home venue and see a game, even when it's not your preferred team's going, on the road, do so, because it will benefit the league long term, and it will just bolster everything holistically. Your support, not just for the team, your team, but the league as a whole, will benefit every team indirectly. So
awesome. Where can the people find you?
I'm on Facebook and X, just as the name's labeled, KJDiscipleP. You'll see me Wednesday nights, later tonight, or I guess it'll probably be yesterday when this gets posted. But every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central is when us folks at the Bottom Line have our podcast. So feel free to check in there and get your updates on the league status here, in addition to the beautiful and illustrious XFL Jim, as always.
Oh, thank you. Now, folks, for a couple final thoughts before we get into week 3. Will we see some more separation between the teams? The teams at the top, the teams at the bottom. Right now it's Dallas dominating everybody. Orlando's still at 2-0 right now, but I don't know if I can fully trust this team. Otherwise, will we see some 1-2s, some 2-1s? I'm excited to find out. Will we see a trend continue, by the way, with the coaches with some experience on the field, kind of showing the younger guys a thing or two about a thing or two? You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. With the backlash, at least online, to ESPN's broadcast Saturday, will we see any changes made? They kind of put the wrapper over the little bit of extraness that they've been doing. Keep it vanilla. Don't try and spice it up too much. We also get another halftime performance over in Audi Field. Wale, baby. Some nice sensual tones to set the mood. Will Repole continue to show up at games? Will my daddy ever love me the way that I deserve? These questions and more should be answered in week 3 of the UFL. Shout out to ABC, by the way, for getting us some games this week. Those ones always seem to be extra special. So buckle up, folks. It's week 3 of the UFL. There are no safe words when we're united. I'm UFL Jim. Catch you on the recap.